What is going on, Casually FC? Welcome to a long-awaited Casually FC Reacts. I am accompanied here with Oliver, Real Chris, and today Rory released a video that I found to be titled in a very interesting fashion. Frank Lampard needs to quit managing, essentially, or should quit management. And we're going to see how this goes because last we checked up on Rory, he was all about Frank. He never wanted Frank to get sacked. He thought he should have gotten time. He was Frank Lampard in for the longest time and still was, even after the fact. And to be honest, if we even look back not too long ago, he was really happy to see Frank Lampard come back to the club. So it's interesting to see what was the final straw that broke the camel's back. So we're going to be reacting to that. But before we go ahead and do so, go ahead, Oliver. What's up?
Just quickly, he also said that he's guaranteeing that he'll win Everton the trophy, and he's also now moaning about the fact that Poch isn't a Chelsea man. So just to add that on.
There you go. Yeah, a bunch of things to kind of contradict the idea of Rory liking, of Rory being all for Frank Lampard, and all of a sudden we have this video that apparently he wants him to quit management. So we'll see. I mean, listen, everyone's entitled to change their opinion. I'm just curious to see what Rory, what had to happen for someone like Rory to change his opinion. But before we go ahead and do that, guys, make sure you hit that bell notification so you don't miss out when we do streams like this. Make sure you hit the subscribe if you're new here. About 60% of you that watch aren't actually subscribed, so be sure to subscribe so that you get more of our content and it's a more direct feed and you're not looking for it. Make sure you also are smashing that like button. It does help out the channel tremendously. So big up to you guys who do that as well. Just, make it a routine of yours. Come in, like you wipe your feet on the carpet when you go into your house, just smash the like button. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. Check out the links in the description to see the Twitter and all my other content as well. And leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think about everything that we're going to talk about today regarding this video. And also, really quickly before we go on, we do have memberships starting at 99p. 4 different memberships. You get cool emojis you can use, which big up to everyone in the chat who is a member. And if you are a member, go ahead and use those emojis, please. They're fun to have. And we're going to get more as we get more memberships as well. So before we go on as well, big shout out to people who are of the proper casual tier and higher. That would be Winter Surfer, Strasbourg Steve, OG Turbo Jesus, Dark, and Scott. Big up to you guys. If you haven't already done so, at least check out what perks you get with the memberships, because some of those perks you actually get access to some of the content here, and there will be more exclusive content as well. And hey, big up Dark, who is also in the chat, member right there.
Hey, so, respect our captain, man. Respect him.
Let's go ahead and without further ado, guys, let's get started and see what this video is about. There we go. Winter Surfer just joined the chat. He joined in. Good timing, man.
He knew you. He's going.
He knew. He knew we were going to start. He knew. It was less than a minute. It was less than a minute. Okay, let's go.
Frank Lampard needs to give up management altogether. I think that is the answer.
Let's go.
Frank Lampard needs to draw a line under his managerial career. He is a sensational footballer, a dazzling footballer, and his legacy will forever be intact. But he needs to pack it in with the management. I'm heartbroken to say it. I'm devastated to say it. I didn't always think that it would be this way, but he doesn't have the natural acumen necessary to manage at the very top level. And I don't think he is a man who is going to go and cut his teeth in the lower leagues. Therefore, I think he needs to take the easy option, and that is get a gig in a studio with his friends. He's incredibly intelligent, incredibly articulate, has lived all of the experiences necessary to bring the best analysis and commentary that we could possibly hope for. I think.
Damn, that is the most base take I've ever heard from Rory Jennings. Spot on. Like, that's everything we've said pretty much.
I think he's just actually clocked like Lampard isn't good enough as a manager as a second stint at Chelsea. Before, maybe he thought, oh, Lampard's going to do well at Everton, but now he just realised, Lampard's not a manager. I realised that, like, at Everton, he just can't do it. Like, yeah, I agree with it, like, fully there. Maybe we're going to be agreeing with Rory this time. A lot of agreement.
Hopefully he's on the page.
Yeah, don't get your hopes up.
No.
Listen, once you're in, you're deep. But like, he's not wrong. I will say I might disagree a little bit with the fact that the separation of tarnishing the player from the manager, simply because it's still Frank Lampard regardless. So there's going to be, and we talked about this previously, there's going to be a ilk of Chelsea fans that have grown up and watched this version of Frank Lampard versus the player. And when they think Frank Lampard, this takes over the precipice over the Frank Lampard that we grew up on, or most of us here, I would assume, have grown up on, which is the Chelsea's greatest goal scorer of all time, great one of the England's greatest attacking midfielders, just midfielders in general. So it does taint it a little bit, but we can differentiate it.
Not me.
Maybe some people won't be fortunate.
I grew up on Mason Mount. I did.
All right, let's continue the video.
Poor people.
I think the drive and determination that served Frank Lampard so well as a player, that desperation to be the best, the desperation to prove people wrong, he's been doing it all of his life. And that is why he finished second in a Ballon d'Or to Ronaldinho. That is why he got to the very zenith of the game. Because ever since the days of Scotty Canham, Frank Lampard has been proving people wrong. But it's time to almost rest on his laurels and just enjoy his life in a studio, earning mega money, being treated really well, and simply speaking and professing his knowledge on the game. The frustrating thing is, I do think that there is a manager in there. I do think that there is a really good manager in there.
You know what? Lampard actually did prove me wrong. I thought he'd be a decent manager after his first season at Chelsea. I really thought he'd be a decent manager.
I think as we said on the channel before, a lot of that first season was just relying on Sarri ball muscle memory from a lot of the players that he inherited from Sarri.
Yeah, first few weeks or so, or month or whatever, but like the whole season, I can tell it wasn't always Sarri ball.
No, I'd argue that it's not directly Sarri ball. It's like muscle memory, because Lampard is a much more direct manager than Sarri. So he relied on certain patterns of play in the build up and whatnot. But one thing he'd do is Sarri always built up short, but under Lampard, Kepa would almost always go long. So there were slight variations to it, but mostly it was just using muscle memory and the same style of formation in order to bring out of the players what they'd done in the previous season and how rigorously that Sarri had been coaching them.
Can I ask you guys a question? So, all right, let's take away the first season Lampard had under the transfer ban, and we could put that off to, the Sarri's tactics still being ingrained to the players and them kind of developing and kind of growing out of that into Frank's tactics, right? We go through a summer, we get transfers from Ziyech, Werner, all this and that, Kai Havertz. Yeah. And then we start off that season that Lampard got sacked in pretty strong.
We were top of the league at one week.
We were top of the league at one point. Do you still think that's down to Sarri tactics, or do you think that there was a point where Lampard did have something going for him, but he just didn't know how to maintain it?
I think maybe other teams just figured us out, because defensively we just always seem to be leaking. The second season actually with Lampard, with Thiago Silva at the back, we did actually improve because
and Mendy.
Mendy was actually a big help.
Chilwell.
Yeah, and Chilwell, yes.
We did improve, but we still weren't good enough at the back. We was leaking goals, and we did miss a lot of chances too. But I don't think
we went on a streak. I think we went on a streak of clean sheets. I think we had 9 games with clean sheets or something like that under Lampard.
Yeah, go on.
I know we went on a pretty big unbeaten run. I think it was I don't know about the clean sheets. I know we did keep more than on average. We usually
someone remind me in chat, maybe.
It was after the Liverpool game when Christensen got sent off. We actually went on a pretty good unbeaten run. It was 17 games or something. Yeah, and it ended after we beat Sevilla 4-0. We faced Everton, and then they beat us 1-0.
13 unbeaten run or 13 clean sheets?
It was an unbeaten run.
It was unbeaten, I think. Yeah.
Not a winning one, by the way. That's for the Man City.
That's different. Yeah.
We drew a few games in there, but we were pretty good in that run. We were scoring goals, but the problem is, I remember this game very vividly. It was the game we played. It was 0-0 against Spurs. I believe it was at Stamford Bridge. I can't remember, but it was the game where Tammy missed all those headers. And just
that's
in
where Andrew called him a sponge head for the first time ever.
probably, but that particular game, Jose figured him out because before then, managers were giving we were using the fullbacks James and Chilwell to get the ball in the box, and Jose just figured it out and shut him out. And even though James did get service into the box, Abraham was just terrible. And then from there, people knew how to play us, just mark out the wings, and we weren't going to go through the middle. So it became pretty easy once Mourinho exposed it.
That was an issue that we had in that season, is that there was no creativity whatsoever through the middle.
It's an issue
everything had to go to the wings.
We arguably still have that problem, even with Enzo. But I put that more down to poor coaching.
It's been a little better with Enzo in the team, but yeah, we do arguably still have that issue. All right, let's continue this video. Oh, wrong thing.
But for one reason or another, it isn't working. I think that his first season at Chelsea was a success. I really do. I think he demonstrated some excellent managerial decisions during that period, and he navigated the club through a really rocky terrain. Remember, we were a club.
Stop.
Let man cook.
All right.
Cook, Andrew. You can cook.
So we finished on the lowest points for any top four finishing ever on 66 points. We were actually third, and he allowed Manchester United to overtake us and finish ahead of us. One game in particular, a 3-0 away defeat to Sheffield United was one of the worst, and this even under Lampard was still one of the worst defensive displays I've ever seen in my life. It was literally cross and inshallah. It was relying on. Remember, he abandoned the kids by the time he came back from COVID. Even before that, he abandoned
even
the youth.
Before that, yeah.
Yeah,
He abandoned the youth. He started to play Giroud, Willian, Pedro more, stuff like that. He abandoned the youth. It was only really Mount was playing and stuff like that. I don't think it was a success. I think it was just pure dumb luck. That really, I don't know what Arsenal had Arteta that came through the same season, and we're trying to figure things out. And who else really?
United had Solskjaer.
Solskjaer came in as interim.
They finished above us, and Leicester sort of dropped off. So, you want to consider that success? Fine, whatever. I don't.
Kind of bare minimum.
It's minimum,
right?
yeah. It's bare minimum.
Or at the time, yeah.
Let me be honest. I didn't think we finished top four, but we were in top four the entire season, nearly. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's not as if we went on a run to finish in top four. We were in top four for a lot of that season as well. And here, you want to consider that success, fine. I mean, a European, we got absolutely destroyed by Bayern Munich on both legs. I mean, I'm struggling to remember that season, but because it was just terrible. But
I mean, we beat Spurs twice, I guess. We got knocked out by United in October.
Okay.
2-0 that Rashford.
The Rashford free kick,
yeah,
if you remember.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Stupid free kick,
did,
man.
Not that anyone has done, but he only beat. Yeah, he's the only side to lose 4-0 and get praised by the pundits.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah,
we got praised by the rivals at that game.
Yeah, we got praised. He allowed us.
We played good football.
Our rivals to feel sorry for us.
He allowed the rivals to like us in a way.
Yeah, exactly. Disgusting.
That's the worst. That's when you know it's just messed up.
Chelsea is more of a likable club under Lampard. I wasn't too sure about that because it doesn't really happen. We're normally hated, and when you're hated, you're normally winning. So it does tell you something, I guess.
Hey, heels are cool, man. What can I say?
I don't think though Lampard was completely shit, especially first season. Though I thought he did. I didn't expect top four like you, but yeah, like you said, we was in top four most of it. Like you said, United was quite poor. There wasn't many good teams in top four as I remember. So
no, exactly, because context is key. So
I agree.
You're starting anticipation, and when what actually happens in the season changes, right?
Yeah,
I didn't think we'd get it because of the transfer ban and because Lampard was coming in. We did get it, absolutely fine, no problem. You want to call it success? I'm not going to argue with that whatsoever, really. But I wouldn't go overboard with what we actually achieved there, because remember, guys, the transfer ban got overturned in the December of that season. Not at the end of the season. It got overturned. Yeah. So we could actually buy people in January if we wanted.
That's how we managed to get Ziyech, quote unquote, right? Like that's we did the deal for Ziyech in January.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, we were able to, because it was overturned. So we could also be able to do a transfer that season or even agree deals in principle.
Oh, I guess. But no, we were actually, Andrew, if you remember, Lampard wanted Aubameyang in that January.
Yes, that's what I mean. So it's like it's not as if like, oh, well, he had a whole season and he couldn't do anything in transfer ban. I don't know why, but we just didn't choose to do so. But I'm sorry.
And I mean, back then also Chelsea just didn't do much transfer business in January, regardless.
No, that's also very true. But seeing as how we weren't able to really buy anyone in the summer, you would have thought they would. You know what? Let's secure.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which we probably didn't really expect even under Frank Lampard.
Yeah, that's fair.
They chose not to. Fine. History is history.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, let's continue the video, boys.
Club that were in a very weird state of affairs. We were in a transfer ban, and Frank Lampard effectively took the youth team to the last 16 of the European Cup, doing it all off the back of a transfer embargo and selling our best player. Remember, for ages, it was so easy for Chelsea managers because what they could do is say, give the ball to Eden Hazard and hope for the best. Eden Hazard would get Chelsea out of trouble time and time again. Suddenly, that luxury, that safety net, that lifeboat was gone.
I think that's
low standards, man.
That's taking a lot of credit away from the managers that we've had.
I mean, he won't be caught dead giving Maurizio Sarri credit for anything. We all know that.
Yeah, God forbid if Lampard
but even Conte.
won Europa League. Conte, he got the 16s. Yeah, he got the last 16.
What's his thoughts on Conte? I don't actually know what Rory thinks.
He liked Conte. He liked Conte.
Has he liked him since though? Because a lot of Chelsea fans don't like him
I have
anymore.
no idea, but I remember he definitely liked Conte at the time because he showed a passion, everything like that. So he liked that. He just didn't like Sarri because.
And also, does that mean Mourinho as well? Does Mourinho?
I was about to say even Mourinho. Like, are we just saying that Mourinho's tactics were simply just give the ball to Hazard? Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Eden Hazard was a huge part of Chelsea, and like he did carry the club on his shoulders by himself sometimes. He was that kind of player. But
you're taking credit as well you're taking credit away from so many other fantastic players that have been in our squads. Like, you could argue under Sarri and second season Conte, it was night and day Hazard, but you look at Conte's title winning side, we had Costa and Pedro, we had Kante and Matic, Alonso and Moses doing well. In Mourinho's title-winning side, we had Costa yet again. We had Fabregas, Matic. Taking credit away from so many people that contributed. It wasn't just give Hazard the ball. We had other players, other great players. Players we'd die for right now.
I want to add something to that. We literally won 2 Champions Leagues without Eden Hazard anyway. 2.
It's not his fault.
So
but...
We don't need Eden Hazard like that. In Europe, actually, Hazard didn't. He did well, but he didn't do in the Premier League. He was fantastic. Obviously, he helped us win.
No, he was nothing special in Europe.
But I think 2 things can be the same. Two things can be the same. I believe Sarri allowed him to be more flexible in terms of his positioning, not always starting out wide, really be close to the striker. But then also, particularly that season, I do remember him really standing out more in terms of goal scoring and late minute goals or assists. I mean, particularly remember the 1-1 draw against Wolves where he literally got the equaliser in the last seconds and stuff like that. And the goals that stood out, the League Cup goal against Liverpool when he came on as sub, the goals he scored in the Europa League to win Europa League. It can be the same thing. You can credit. 2 things can be the same. Do you know what I mean?
No, I agree in general. I just, knowing Rory's opinions on Sarri, I think it's more edging to the malicious side of the spectrum.
He'll never credit Sarri.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's continue on.
And Frank Lampard, instead of relying on a player as mercurial and brilliant as Eden Hazard, was suddenly relying on players who hadn't played in the Premier League before. So to take that club to the last 16 of the Champions League, into the top 4 and to the FA Cup final certainly deserves respect. However, it all feels like an awfully long time ago, and his recent record is atrocious. If you look at the record off the back of Everton and now in his second spell at Chelsea, it really is lacking in any sort.
That tweet has made its rounds on Twitter, and I've seen it. This tweet right here is absolutely damning.
Looks like our form.
Probably is around like that. I
Jesus
can't
Christ!
lie.
I would
And
argue
that
our
inc-
form is actually better
A
than
few more
this.
draws. No, we
That
probably have a
includes-
few more draws. That's about it.
Yeah,
That-
exactly.
That includes Everton, and that looks exactly like our form. That's just an indictment of our season.
That honestly, all that red, I would think that's like the U.S. economy during COVID. Jesus Christ, it was bad. That's a lot of red there. But like, yeah, when you see it visually like that, it definitely paints a different picture for sure. It definitely puts into perspective how bad Lampard has been. And mind you, like, they're not like blowouts, but at the same time, like, you even look at how many goals they're scoring. It's really not much. There's not a single game where Everton or at his last 19 games, they're scored more than one goal, except for the win. That's it.
I mean, that was his biggest problem at Everton. Arguably, he made the defense. The defense already were terrible. You could kind of give him that. They were bad under Benitez. Their players aren't particularly, Michael Keane and these they're not great players necessarily. You could argue he got Tarkowski and Cody in. They're decent Premier League centre backs. He made them bad, so fair enough. You give him that. But looking at the attacking end though, there was no solution. I mean, Anthony Gordon, every single one of his goals were fluke deflections. Damari Gray, good dribbler, but not really much else he was getting out of him besides that. Calvert-Lewin consistently injured. He bought Neil Maupay. This guy is renowned for being a not very clinical striker, and he bought him in to be the rotation for an injury-prone Calvert-Lewin. So these are the kind of things. And you look at the system as well. It was just very, very sterile. They just passed the ball around. It was a bit like at the end of his Chelsea time, just possession for its own sake. And
mind you, Calvert-Lewin. It doesn't help that Calvert-Lewin, their top goal scorer or their prominent goal scorer, was injured. But even, oh my God, even Rafa Benitez was getting a tune out of Gordon. Was getting a tune. Was he getting a tune out of Gordon? I don't even know if Gordon was playing. But Rondon, right?
Well, Rafa Benitez got sacked because of the bad.
He got
form.
sacked. They were going to bad form, but he got a tune out of Damari Gray. He got a tune out of who was the striker that they had? Was it Rondon?
It was Calvert-Lewin and Rondon,
Yeah, Rondon. Even there was a little bit of tune getting out of there. Even the defense was scoring some goals. So
I remember that
was
was
just
Richarlison last season as well. So
true. They had Richarlison as well. That is absolutely true. So yeah, even Richarlison was their top goal scorer last season.
He only had 9 goals though. It wasn't very much. And well, looking at his Spurs time, he probably should have stayed there. To be honest.
Yeah. So yeah, this chart is peak, and yeah, it does paint a really bad picture of
the numbers don't lie, do they?
No, they don't lie, and it does paint a very sobering picture of Lampard's time as a manager, at least in the last 2 seasons, I would say.
Of success, there isn't even a semblance of success, and it's a genuine conversation that Chelsea could be relegated this season. What I will not tolerate, what does not exist. Trust me, I'll give you my word. This does not exist. Anyone who tries to suggest that Frank Lampard is in danger of impacting his legacy at the club, maybe leaving a negative imprint on the way that we feel about Frank Lampard. Some people have had the audacity to suggest that Frank Lampard could tarnish his Chelsea legacy. Let me tell you this, I promise you, utter nonsense. If you genuinely believe that, I genuinely believe that you don't love Chelsea. If you honestly think that Frank Lampard could do anything in a dugout to impact how we feel about him as a man, I think that is absolute nonsense. Frank Lampard is...
I mean, I agree.
Tarnish it.
I agree with the idea, but then he said, if you think he could do anything in that dugout to impact him as the legacy, if he gets us relegated, that's pretty big.
What I think he's worded it wrong there. He said about his legacy as a man.
As a man, yeah, that's I pointed
as a man, that is
I won't look at any different still though.
as a man, that is the sum of you as a player plus the sum of you. It's the sum of you as a player and as a manager. If he said if it impacts him as a player, that's where I agree. But as a man, you've got to factor in both things. So it comes into conversation. But we can differentiate, as we said before. So it doesn't really matter to us.
We are 100% capable of differentiating. I think most people in the chat are 100% capable of differentiating. But there is that small demographic of people that only know Frank Lampard as a manager, which is very unfortunate. But
it's a shame.
It is a shame. But those are the people that. Go ahead.
For me, and any Chelsea fan that's over the age of 15. Should not allow 6 to 8 weeks of trash to ever go over 13 years of glory.
That's a good point. 100%. That's a good point. Because
I'm sorry, that's where I say, unfortunately, you have to separate the two people.
Yeah,
the manager and the player are not even in the same universe, let alone the same. They're just not. Lampard will be. You can now, that term when they say great players don't ever turn out to be good managers or hardly ever good managers.
Sure.
You can use Lampard. Use Lampard now as the actual.
So Gerrard as well.
No, but I think Gerrard's won the league title.
He's got a league title,
So that's the thing. He stopped Celtic getting 10 in a row.
I guess he might be better than Lampard a little bit, but
but what I'm saying is, unless Steven Gerrard does something else, but what I'm saying is, you can now look at Lampard and go, that's the example of modern day great players not becoming good managers.
Used to be Gary Neville.
Yeah, I was going to say used to be Gary Neville.
He only had that 3-month stint though, didn't he? When
he was awful.
Sky for the next 8 years. So.
Yeah.
It's a whole different ball game, and I think most of us are pretty surprised, considering how good of a player he was, that it's ended up being this bad for him in management.
Just a response in the chat. I would love to see Zidane go to another club before I can really judge him.
I think Zidane's still a good manager because he still won.
But I'd like to see what he does at another club.
Does that have to be a big club still?
I feel like Zidane kind of gets the same treatment that Enrique gets.
Yeah, but
in the sense,
But this is where the skepticism of Enrique comes from, because we've actually seen what he does outside of that environment. So there's actually a basis behind the skepticism, whereas with Zidane, it's just a complete unknown. So that comes with its own uncertainty in itself. But with Enrique, people will have the skepticism, he can only do it with XYZ players. He can't do it at Roma or Celta Vigo. There's more of an evidence base to possibly doubting what his abilities are.
I don't disagree. Ladies and gents, make sure you're smashing that like button. Let's go ahead.
I just want to say the anomalies. What Blade Runner said there. The anomalies are Pep, Ancelotti, and Cruyff. Really, pretty much. Maybe.
Were they great players though?
What?
Yeah, Pep. Yeah, they were. Pep, Ancelotti, and Cruyff. They were great players.
I can't remember too much of Ancelotti. Fair. But
Ancelotti's the guy who's won it as a player and a manager in that AC Milan midfield.
Yeah, I know Ancelotti. I know Ancelotti's got the history.
Cruyff, and even before my time, Cruyff, but I know Cruyff, that's why he's got the Cruyff turn. And Pep, I think Pep was very good. I think his career sort of underrated because he was at Barcelona and he sort of finished his career in Italy as a player. Not with one of the big teams.
He went to the Middle East, I think, at the end.
Yeah.
No, I got personally, I'm uninformed on that, so I can't really speak too much on Mourinho and Pep's career as players. But all right,
Mourinho was nothing really.
All right, let's go ahead and continue the video, boys.
Chelsea's greatest ever player. Frank Lampard is Chelsea's icon. He is Chelsea's personality. And we will never have another player that can do half of what Frank Lampard was capable of.
Mason Mount.
The sooner they name the West Stand after Frank Lampard, the better. And the sooner that they build a statue to commemorate our greatest ever player, the better. Frank Lampard has the freedom of Stamford Bridge, and that will exist forever. Nothing can happen to change the way that true Chelsea fans feel about Frank Lampard. That's a fact. It's bad. When Brentford fans are serenading you with you're getting sacked in the morning, you know things are bad. It's Brentford. And they are mocking Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Like, this is uncharted territory. This is a new low. This is totally unacceptable. So it cannot go on. And of course, when they're singing about getting sacked in the morning, it's tongue-in-cheek. It's a joke. But then you remember what happened at Tottenham Hotspur, and you suddenly go, maybe it's not so far-fetched. You know, Tottenham Hotspur did sack their own caretaker manager. So maybe there is a genuine conversation in the halls of Stamford Bridge, in the powers that be, where they are exploring sacking Frank Lampard as the caretaker manager before the end of the season. And if they did, you know, I've called this board out a lot, but if they did decide to sack Frank Lampard, decisive action is a very good thing in the boardroom. Who could argue? You know, the new man.
Wow. I, again, didn't expect Rory to have that kind of a take. I will also point out that even the interim to the interim at Tottenham, even he managed to get something out of Spurs, and he got a
Ryan
point
Mason, yeah.
from Man United in yesterday's game, right? It was yesterday, right? Or was it 2 days ago?
But Frank is our interim of the interim. Because
He's the interim of Southall.
Bruno was in charge.
True. Yeah.
So if we got rid of Frank, we'd be on our third interim manager of the season.
Jesus Christ.
Well, hopefully at that
But,
point
you know,
we'll just get
Frank is the interim of the new manager.
Yeah.
Because Potter replaced Tuchel as well.
So the reason Frank's not going to be sacked is because of 4 things happened during the week. Leeds and Leicester drew. Everton and Southampton lost. So they're further.
That's good
they're
for business, that is.
They played more games and they're further points away, which is why we won't get relegated. Not because we're going to save ourselves, it's because others are dropping points as well, and they've got less points than us to begin with. So that's why he won't be sacked.
And their fixture schedules are pretty tough. I know off the top of my head that Nottingham Forest schedule and Leicester, I believe, not looking good.
I don't think we have Leicester, but we have Bournemouth.
No, we're not playing Leicester.
No, we have Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth. I think we'll beat Nottingham. I think Lampard will beat Nottingham Forest or Bournemouth, one of the 2 teams, and then we'll
Don't
probably
speak too soon.
clash out. Hey, we might even take points off Arsenal. We might.
I want to check. Did Lampard beat them? Did he beat them with Everton? I want to know that. Hang on.
He drew.
Doubt it.
He drew, I think. No, that was Sean Dyche. Yeah.
Wait, were they
That
both?
was Sean
Were they
Dyche.
both? No, because they drew 1-1 in August.
Oh,
You couldn't even beat them with Everton. You couldn't beat them with Everton.
Yeah, well, Everton are good. No, shit. I mean,
Yeah, they're well, what are we then? You know, we're just like
we're just a shit club.
We're where the shit comes from.
What we're 1% less shit.
No,
Okay.
we are better than Everton though. Like, there's a reason why Everton are 18. And we're
not.
That's arguable.
No,
It's arguable right now.
We are okay. I know we're being quite poor this season, but we are still better than Everton. I know we don't score either, but we can script some wins.
They scored more goals in April than us, I think.
Jesus
Even when
Christ.
losing, so you know.
Well, we only scored 1 goal this month, haven't we?
Exactly. That's a deflected goal is our goal of the month.
That's
Great goal.
horrendous. It's actually horrendous.
It's either going to be that or training goal Marshall at that point, so take us in.
Yeah. I mean, Mitchie boy, we are going to give Frank time. He's going to stay till the end of the season, but I don't expect results to really change. That's the thing. The only thing that I'm hoping for is that we get a win out of pure talent in the squad and luck, because it's football. You know, it is football. Like, at the end of the day, like, sometimes a deflected goal is the difference between a win and a draw or a loss. So
Vibes, yeah.
At this point, I'm just hoping for him to play some actual attackers on the pitch, you know, and put Mudryk and Madueke in.
I'm banking on an own goal.
Yeah,
maybe that'll get us to win.
We are the worst team right now, but like a
we're
few
not
games from
very
now
good.
on, we could change that form.
Hey, we're not.
You don't even have to look at the last 5. You could even look further, like maybe the last 10. It's since January.
Bro, look at since October. You don't even have to go 5. Look at since October.
Yeah.
We are the team in the Premier League that's picked up the least amount of wins since mid to late October. That's national stat.
That's brutal. That's brutal. Well, that's Chelsea's a season for you. Let's continue the video.
Manager bounce didn't work. I was desperate for it too. I thought that him coming in could have elevated the belief and elevated the performance and elevated the atmosphere at Stamford Bridge to give us a hope of beating Real Madrid. It obviously didn't work, but there has been literally no manager bounce, and I wonder what the impact is on the players who are playing for the former icon, whilst knowing that he doesn't really have any reason to stake a claim to be in the role full time. Are the players going to be motivated to perform for a manager who they don't think deserves a role as manager? And they know that he's there because of what he achieved as a player rather than what he can do as a manager. I think it can get quite murky. Lampard has also made some
That's spot on, by the way.
decisions. Like a front three of Gallagher, Sterling, and Kante.
Proper minerals there.
Wow. Hey, Rory, you know football sometimes. I didn't think you would actually call him out on this. Yeah, no, he's right.
No, but just going back to the point before, he's absolutely spot on. You know, the players probably look at him and he's like, you know, literally, we saw a quote, didn't we? Jorginho did an interview and he literally said that, oh, I never thought he was like had the credentials for this. And you know, if Jorginho thought that back in 2020 or whatever, you know, what are these players right here, right now? What are they thinking after he's just been at Everton and stunk the place out?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Kepa, Mendy, Aspilicueta, Reece James, Thiago Silva, who else? Chilwell, Kante, Kovacic, Mount, Kai Havertz, Ziyech, Pulisic. Off the top of my head, are still there from when he left.
True.
When he ripped apart the squad. Like, so why would they why would they, they're still there, they're still deep in the squad, so why would they, you know, why would they accept him back?
And the thing is, I'd understand the thinking slightly if it was like, say it was like maybe 7 years since he lost the dressing room. It's only been 2 years.
That's 2 years. 2
Not
years
a lot of time.
With a huge chunk of the squad that he left is still there.
Yeah. No, but even if that core,
do you think anything would have changed? They'll be telling the new players what he was like.
Yeah, no,
and sadly, he's probably shown it.
Yeah,
as well. That's the thing. So.
The thing is, even if that call was still there, it's not been long enough to forgive and forget and whatnot. You know, they're still going to have that in the back of their minds. It's only it was only 3 managers ago. You know, and you know that's this season's been mad. I'll give you that, but. You know, like I said, 2 years, that's not a lot of time. It really, really isn't.
And also, it's not as if he's gone 2 years without managing, right? He literally stopped managing. He literally got fired from his last job like 2 months ago. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not as if he's been away for 2 years. Let's see what he's learnt. You know, something like that. If he's changed or anything. He's in 2 months and he's still doing the same stuff.
I was looking at Everton Twitter accounts, and they were actually like fans, and they were literally showing screenshots. If I had them now, I'd give them to Marshall to show them. I don't have them, but they were showing screenshots of like mid-game, and you can literally see the exact same like hexagon midfield with the donut with no one in the middle. It's literally the exact same thing that we saw when he was at Chelsea. Like literally, the man hasn't changed, and you can see it. You see it in the press conferences as well. Oh, I can't wave a magic wand to make them score goals. Oh, these problems predate me. He was saying this at Chelsea first time. He was saying it at Everton, and he's saying it now, and he's back at Chelsea. Like literally, the man has not changed his approach whatsoever.
Yeah, and it's it's bad when Rory is calling you out on this stuff too. Like Rory being his biggest defender, his biggest advocate, upset when he got sacked. Almost, actually, I don't know if you guys remember this. He almost cried, but not only that, he was saying that Roman Abramovich should leave the club.
Well, he got his wish there.
Well, yeah, he did. Like he was
And,
saying, he was shaming Roman Abramovich for doing so, which was mad at the time. The guy who had won us so many trophies, and he was making those claims.
I'm sure he loves these owners. I'm sure he hasn't said anything bad about these owners, by the way.
Yeah, I can only imagine. All right, let's continue the video.
Like, I do understand what Lampard is trying to do. It's energy, isn't it? It's
Sure.
energy and busyness. That's what he's looking for. And we just don't have that. You know, we can't score goals. Our goal scoring is appalling this season. I think we scored 30 goals in 32 games. It is atrocious. And Frank Lampard certainly can't be held accountable for that. We need to talk about Mr. Havertz and Mr. Aubameyang before we talk about Mr. Lampard with regard to the lack of goals in our team. I would also say that Gallagher and Kante, in positions of promise, lack that clinical cutting edge to be ruthless in front of goal. And it's a manager's responsibility. In this case, it's Frank Lampard's responsibility to know that if the ball does drop kindly for N'Golo Kante in the box, under the lights, in a European game against Real Madrid, that Kante, in his current form, the man that he is today, he may snatch at that opportunity and make a pig's ear of it. And therefore, it was a bad selection to pick him, because even if things go well, even if your press works, if the opportunity drops, he probably isn't clinical enough to find the back of the net. So Pochettino's on the brink of coming in. There's no real rush for us to make any change. So I expect Frank Lampard to see the season out. We have some very difficult fixtures. And really, when you look at the way that we're playing, I can't see where another point comes from. Maybe Arsenal, maybe if they've been destabilised.
Maybe I was thinking he would say Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest, maybe Arsenal.
He's doing the stupid
He's just
thing
a proper
here.
Chelsea fan. You know?
He's doing the stupid thing here. He's using the other team's form as some kind of indication that, oh, they're in bad form. Chelsea are going to win. It's not like we're literally charity FC, is it?
Yeah. Brentford were in pretty bad form before they came to us. So,
yep.
Yeah.
What De Zerbi got his first win at that's Potter now. Never mind. If we're talking Chelsea, yeah, De Zerbi got his first win at Brighton against us. Like, I can name. There's probably countless more examples in this season alone, let alone in the past 3 or so years.
Wolves got that win against us.
True.
Yeah.
And they're way below us as well. They've been having a horrible season.
I wouldn't say way below.
What, 4 points, six points? I don't even know how many.
They could sniff.
I want to look at that too. Yeah, they're right behind us. But yeah, but even Rory's of the belief, like, he doesn't see where we can get a win from. Which, again, I agree. It's hard to see. It's hard to imagine and fathom where we could possibly get a win from. Excuse me, in our next 6 games that we have left of the season. So that's why I'm saying, like, it's probably going to be luck and it's football, and maybe something happens.
I say to you, we're not getting relegated because it's not because of us. It's because the teams below us have less points and are dropping points as well. So they're running out of games. They're literally running out. If there was 12 games left right now, I would really fear for us getting relegated.
Yeah.
There are 12 games right now because I don't, like I said, I'm, the way he said we have to talk about Kai Havertz and Aubameyang. Aubameyang, who's had 30 minutes in 6 weeks or something like that. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. That's what I mean. And that's Kai Havertz. As much as I rag on him, the last few games when he's been up there, and he didn't play Wednesday as well. He was out injured. The game before that, Real Madrid, he was up there by himself. He was literally by himself. So I can't rag on him that much. But come on, let's have some foresight. He picked. If you're expecting N'Golo Kante to smash it in from there, then that's on you, really. You know what? Don't pick N'Golo Kante as an attacker. How about that?
Yeah, I agree. All right.
Because of what happened at the Etihad, but realistically, I can't see us getting another point this season, and therefore we're going to end the season on a pitiful tally, and we are going to avoid relegation by a Rizzler paper. Now, of course, not all of that is Frank Lampard's fault, but he must shoulder some of the blame. Like, this is one of our most, if not our most, embarrassing season in the modern era, and we haven't registered a single point a single point under Frank Lampard. We're 10 points above third from bottom Leicester City, and we still have Arsenal, Manchester City, Manchester United, and Newcastle to play. Realistically, oh, how many games is Lampard going to lose? So the experiment hasn't worked. I think it's time for Frank Lampard to dream a new dream. He will always be an icon. He will always be my favourite player, and he will always be Chelsea's truest legend. Build the statue, name the West Stand the Frank Lampard stand, and let's enjoy Frank Lampard imparting his wisdom to us from the safety of a gallery or a studio. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really do hope you've...
You guys think that this is what Rory is really like, and every other thing is kind of just a persona for YouTube entertainment purposes and maybe clicks and stuff?
I hope so. It would really worry me that a genuine person could act that deluded.
Yeah, seriously. This is the most I think any of us have ever agreed with Rory. Usually Rory is, very like, proper Chels and Lampard, back the manager, all this and that, and
he's jumping on the bandwagon. That's all it is.
He's jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah,
possibly.
He sees it for what it is. He sees it. He sees where this is going. Jump on it now. Get ahead. With a few games left to spare.
I'm surprised in this whole video he's not once really put any onus on the owners. I thought he would have at least done that, put a little dig here and there.
I mean, like, it's kind of difficult to do that because he endorsed having Lampard come back, so then he can't go and turn around and then blame the owners because then he's just being a hypocrite.
Fair enough, yeah.
On what he, if he agreed with the owners back then, he's got a massive slice of humble pie in order to say, oh, they're wrong, but that means I was wrong as well.
Even if we get 2 to 3 points from the games by magically scoring 0-0 draws, doesn't matter. Everyone's lost all credibility at the club this season. I'd take finishing 17th at this point if it ended tonight.
Oh, I would
Sure.
too. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I don't want to watch it. This is literally just a habit right now, and just to
it's
just to
torture.
hang out. It's literally just a habit, and plus to hang out and talk about football. Really, I don't do it for the game. I do it for me. It's a social opportunity. Football at the moment. I'm waiting for us to become better before I can start enjoying it for what it is.
To be fair, if I didn't have the YouTube channel, I'd probably be watching other teams play on my weekend instead of putting 2 hours of my day to Chelsea.
I watched
Arsenal
and Man City Wednesday.
We did do a watch. Yeah.
All three of us were literally watching that game at the same time.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, I mean, that was the video. I'm really surprised that this is the most based I've ever heard Rory. I wasn't sure. I thought that going into this we would hear a lot of praise of Lampard and not as much criticism.
Even him and his usual bullshit can't spin himself out of this. Nothing. It's
I was expecting that.
Don't even try and put a positive spin on this whatsoever. Do you know what I mean? It's like you can't. Nah. I've heard you with so much bullshit in the past. You're not going to spin out of this one, and even he knows he can't spin out of this one. I mean,
it's tough. The numbers don't lie.
Apologize. What you should do is apologize for endorsing it in the first place.
And he should also apologise to the new Premier League goal scoring record holder in a season, who he said was profligate.
For that.
True.
Haaland.
Yeah,
that was.
15 goals.
I mean, that's the thing for me. Like Andrew, you said it's a bandwagon thing. I can't like if he was a bandwagon guy, he would not have said that Haaland is profligate.
No, I'm just talking about this situation in particular, not just overall. I just think this, this one in particular, he is maybe bandwagon, but he is seeing where it's going, and he's just trying to get ahead. Ahead right before the end, before anyone go, well, you said we should keep him, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think he's just trying to get ahead, and that's fine. But that's what I said before. Even he can't spin anything out of this. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing to spin out of the situation we're currently in with Lampard. Like, it's a good idea keep him.
There's only so much delusion you can portray yourself as. Yeah. Before it's just uncredible.
Yeah,
But hey, Rory, big up, man. You see the light.
I mean,
I'll see the light.
Marshall, I'll end it on this. Just like the 1920 season, this is an anomaly. This video, him being based, it's an anomaly.
I'm just glad it was less than 10 minutes. Usually this idiot goes on for like 25 or something.
Right.
It's just like less than 10 minutes, you know. We don't have to give ourselves an aneurysm trying to do, trying to figure out what the hell he's going on about mostly.
True. But ladies and gents, this is where we're gonna end it here. That was an interesting video. I didn't really expect too much of agreement with Rory, but hey, sometimes it happens. Listen, we're not here to hate on the guy. We're not here to bash anyone that we criticize. We're just here to be critical and see what's true, see what's not, and give our opinions on it. So, hey, Rory, from time to time, you spit, and you were spitting today. But all right, guys, big up to Chris, who left, Oliver, and Andrew for joining us for this react. Big up to you guys in the chat for watching us. Make sure, if you haven't done so already, smash the like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. If you're watching this in the future, let us know what you think in the comments. Check out the links in the description. Subscribe so you don't miss out when we do the hit the bell notification so you don't miss out when we do some live streams. We'll be back again on Sunday for the Casually Chelsea show. We'll be talking about all sorts of news, Mason Mount stuff, and what's going to be happening with Pochettino, all the stuff that you guys have probably been looking forward to and seeing along the lines on the Twitter timeline, all that. But until then, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you check out the memberships. It does help out the channel tremendously. And we'll catch you next time. Peace out and stay casual.